So you're given a circle with an area of 700. So whatever you're given, write the formula for that. That's pi r squared. And you're given 700. So plug in 700 for the A. And then get r squared by itself by dividing both sides by pi. And when you do that, you're left with 700 over pi equals r squared. And to get just r instead of r squared, you need the square root of that item on the left. And we'll just keep it that way for right now. What you're looking for is C. And the formula for C is 2 pi r. So you're going to put what we just found, the square root of 700 over pi, you're going to put that in for r. Here's the 2 and the pi. This whole thing represents r, which is what we found down here. Now you have to type it into the calculator. And the easy way to do that is to start with this side over here, the parentheses. So hit left parenthesis, second x squared, 700, divide by pi, right hand parenthesis, and hit enter. But don't forget you still have 2 pi. So hit times 2 pi. And if you round that to the 10th place, what should you come up with?
94.2.
Close. Should be
93.8.
yeah, 93.8.
Okay, see, I'm confused on how you round.
Now this one you're given the area again. So write out A equals pi r squared and plug in the 450 where you see an A. And then divide both sides by pi. And they cancel out on the right. On the left, you're left with this. Now to get r by itself, you need the square root of both sides, so the r stays by itself on the right. And let's just leave this the way it is here. Now you're looking for D, which is going to be twice r, but go ahead and solve for r and round and then multiply by 2. That's the rule that we set the last time that we did this. So second x squared, and then type in 450, divide, pi, right hand parenthesis, hit enter, and it comes out to be 11.968 and some change. What does it round to? 12. So then you have to multiply that by 2 to get diameter, so it should be 24. So area is A equals pi r squared, and plug in 252.3 for the area, and then keep equals to pi r squared. Divide both sides by pi, and that cancels the pi's on the right. You're left with r squared, and then 252.3 over pi on the left. You'll need the square root of both sides to get r, and we're just going to leave this the way it is here on the right. Now the formula for C, which is what you're finding, is C equals 2, horrible looking 2 pi r. So we keep the 2 and the pi, but we plug in what we found here. So the square root of 252.3 over pi. In the calculator, it should be left hand parenthesis, second x squared, 252.3, divide, pi, right hand parenthesis, enter. but don't forget to times by 2 pi. And round to the tenths place, and that's going to be 56.3. So you're given the area, so A equals pi r squared, and plug in 963.25 for the area, set it equal to pi r squared. Divide both sides by pi, and come up with r squared. Leave this alone on the left, and you'll need the square root of both sides to be left with r on the right. And we'll just leave this the square root of 963.25 over pi. You're looking for d. So in this case, go ahead and find what r is and round it, then multiply by 2. So second x squared, 963.25, and then divide by pi, right hand parenthesis. You come out with 17.5. But you have to multiply that by 2 to get the diameter, so it should be 35. Here's another example. You're given circumference. Circumference is c equals 2 pi r, and 435 goes in for c. Divide both sides by 2 pi so that the r can be by itself. So 435 over 2 pi is what you're left with for r. Now leave that the way it is and use the formula for area. A equals pi r squared, and plug into that formula right here, don't forget the square, 435 over 2 pi. And you can work that part out first. So in your calculator, hit left hand parenthesis, 435, divide, and now since you have 2 items in the denominator, you need a left hand parenthesis after the divide, and then 2 pi, and then another right hand parenthesis. You'll end it with 2 right hand parentheses, and then square it with the x squared. Hit enter, and then don't forget to multiply by pi. You should come out with 15,058.0. Example 4. You're given circumference and you're trying to find d. So circumference is 2 pi r. Plug in the 637.4 for c, and then go back and divide both sides by 2 pi so that the r can be alone, and you'll have 637.4 over 2 pi on the left. Now what you're solving for is d, so that means you're just going to be multiplying by 2 at the end. The rule that we set for these was that you find r by rounding it and then multiply by 2. So type in 637.4, divide, but put a set of parentheses around 2 pi, and then hit enter. You should have 101.4 for r, but you have to multiply that by 2 to get the diameter. So that would be 202.8. On this problem, you have c. So the formula for c is 2 pi r. You're going to plug in 633.2, set it equal to 2 pi r, and divide both sides by 2 pi. Cancel out the 2 pi's. You're left with r and 633.2 over 2 pi on the left. You're looking for a. So the formula for A is pi r squared. And where you see the r, you're going to put a set of parentheses and then a square symbol on it and plug this into it. So 633.2 over 2 pi goes in there. Do this section first. So that would be a left-hand parenthesis, 633.2, divide. But since you have two terms, put parentheses around the 2 pi. And of course you need another right-hand parenthesis to close everything off, and then hit the square button, enter. Don't forget to hit times pi for this item out here. You should come back with an answer of area equals 31,905. Actually, it's going to be 906 even.